Now, let's talk about what we saw in today's game, because there were some really interesting things when it came to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. First off, one thing that stood out was that Caitlin Clark barely played any minutes alongside Paige Bueckers today. In fact, Clark had 0 minutes with Paige for most of the game, while Paige only saw a couple of minutes herself. But what we did see quite a bit was Caitlin Clark sharing the floor with Angel Reese. And honestly, there were some really interesting flashes there. Their styles actually fit together way better than a lot of people expected. Angel Reese sets strong screens, she rolls hard to the basket, and she's constantly fighting for offensive rebounds. And when you're playing with a passer like Caitlin Clark, those kind of instincts become extremely valuable. Now, there were a few moments that frustrated fans. There were a couple times where Angel Reese grabbed a rebound and didn't immediately look for Caitlin Clark, and people started questioning that. But honestly, I don't think that was intentional. A lot of it probably comes down to habit and instinct. When Reese plays in other systems, she often handles the ball after rebounds. For example, with Chicago, she's used to initiating some offense herself. And in other lineups, she sometimes pushes the ball up the floor. So I don't think it was a situation where she was deliberately ignoring Clark. It looked more like natural instinct taking over. Because when the offense slowed down into the half court, that's where things started to make more sense. Caitlin Clark thrives when she has a clear target in the pick and roll. She wants a player who will set the screen, roll quickly, seal their defender, and give her a passing window. We even saw a play where she hit Monique Billings with a great pass off a pick and roll. Billings missed a mid-range shot, but the play itself showed exactly what Clark is looking for. And the reality is that not every player immediately understands how to play with a passer like Caitlin Clark. Even in the WNBA, it took Kelsey Mitchell nearly half a season to fully adjust to cutting at the right moments. It took Aaliyah Boston almost an entire year, and even the Olympics, before she completely figured out how to maximize Clark's passing. But now Boston has become almost a perfect partner for her. What's interesting, though, is that Angel Reese already shows some of those instincts. She seals defenders well, she rolls hard to the basket, and she gives Clark that target in the paint. That's something you usually only see from players who have already spent a long time playing with Clark. Team USA ended up destroying Puerto Rico in this game, and while it wasn't perfect, there were definitely flashes that should get fans excited. A lot of people are saying they'd love to see Clark play alongside Breanna Stewart, and honestly that makes a lot of sense too. Stewart is another player whose skill set would fit extremely well next to Clark. But when you look at potential lineups for Team USA going forward, the trio that keeps standing out is Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Bueckers. That combination has a ton of potential. Now, some people argue that Clark is very system dependent, and they like to see her dominate in different styles of games. And sure, there's some truth to that, but the same thing can be said about Angel Reese. Certain players fit certain systems better than others, but when these two are on the floor together, the chemistry looks real. And long-term, this could actually become one of the most dangerous duos for Team USA. Yes, it was frustrating watching a couple of those missed connections in transition. But again, I truly don't believe it was intentional. Reese's first instinct after grabbing a rebound is often put the ball on the floor and go, because that's how she's been used in other systems. But in the half court, when she's screening, rolling, and sealing defenders, that's where her game really connects with Clark's. And one thing that's becoming very clear is that Angel Reese processes the game extremely quickly. The speed at which players read and react to the game matters a lot when you're playing with someone like Caitlin Clark. Clark plays fast mentally. She's constantly scanning the floor and looking for the next pass. And Reese seems to have the natural instincts to keep up with that pace, which is rare for a forward who hasn't played with her before. When you surround Clark with players who process the game quickly, you almost always end up with a winning system. And if you imagine future Team USA lineups with players like Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, that's a group full of players who understand spacing, timing, and decision-making at a very high level. So when you start thinking about the Olympics or the World Cup, it's not even really a debate anymore. Angel Reese is making that team. And if Team USA continues building an offense around Caitlin Clark's playmaking, Don't be surprised if Angel Reese eventually pushes for a starting role, because the more we see these two on the court together, the more it looks like their games naturally complement each other.